I love about this young lady. So, with that being said, Elena, the summit is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, David. I first want to actually send some prayers and love to Josh because I'm stepping in for him tonight and he's gonna be here tomorrow. So talk about pulling together and just doing what you're called forward to do. But um, with this being ignite your spark. There's so many different directions that we can go to feed into each other, but I want to talk about the one that what happens when you're just feeling burnt out? What happens when there's so many sparks and so much happening that you're just burnt out and you're kind of running on smoke, the flames. So when I want you guys to envision your world, your beautiful surrounding, your neighborhood, your home, your community, whatever is most precious to you. And then just imagine like bomb upon bomb just dropping down and exploding it up. And there's fires everywhere, and there's chaos, and there's heartache, and there's grief. And it's just war zone. It's horrible. And chances are we've all sat in that. We've all sat in the middle of that and just watched our life as we know it just explode and crumble beneath us. And yet we're always told, keep going, keep picking up the pieces. You've got this. But what happens when you're just freaking tired? When you're tired. And so that happened to me. That happened to me in 2018. And I will always go back to 2018 because that moment blew up my existence as I had known it for 44 years. And it has taken every ounce of energy, every bit of hope, every, ounce of strength that's been left in me at times to just keep going. And sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes you just don't want to keep going. So what do you do? How do you keep going when people are depending on you? When you have to figure it out? When you need to keep showing up? When God places a calling on your life that you can't set down, not even if you wanted to, you can't put it down. So, as we're talking about reigniting purpose and renewing hope, I hope that today, these few minutes that I have with you guys, will actually do that. Because to me, in my book, hope means HOPE, help one person every day. And that's why we do have the Christmas in July 24-hour streamathon to create that circle of hope because I know I needed it. I know I needed just a whisper of hope because I was holding on by a very thin thread and I really didn't care if I fell off or not. So, when your world is burning up, when everything is exploding, you kind of you kind of feel like you've lost your purpose. You kind of have to look around and remember where you are. Chances are you've had to immediately go into survival mode, or maybe you've lived in survival mode your whole life. It took me those 40 some years to actually realize I had been in survival mode longer than I even recognized. And when that first initial bomb drops and when your world as you know it crumbles, you have to search for that purpose. You have to make a conscious decision to want to hang on and understand that that spark that once burned so brightly within you that kind of feels like maybe it ignited a little too much and burnt you out, it's still there. It's never left you. And when you're in survival mode, you kind of don't have the softness to allow it to simmer anymore. It's there's this hardness that has to come around you, that has to protect you, that has to solve the answers, that has to figure it out. And so you lose that little bit of softness, the pretty candle, that pretty feminine flame that, can really illuminate a room romantically and really pretty. You lose that because you have to turn into this hard being that you don't even recognize and figure it out. But even in that survival mode, it's remembering who you are. And so That moment for me, some of you know this, some of you don't, was when I discovered my husband's 5 year affair 9 months after he died. It was such a toxic, emotionally abusive relationship that I had already lived in fight or flight mode for years. I had already been in survival mode for years. And then I'm thinking, even from the grave, you're still beating me down. Even though I still had grief, even though I still had heartache, even though I still had to figure everything out, I'm still afraid of you, and you're still beating me down from 6 feet under. And I hated myself. I hated myself for wondering, how did I get here? I hated myself for making the decision to marry him. I hated myself for allowing us to live in this toxic environment that drove my sons to want to commit suicide. I hated myself. I hated myself for the financial ruin that I was too blind to see. And everybody's talking about, ignite, reignite and keep going. And they were giving me exercises to look in the mirror and talk to yourself. And I'm like, I hate who's in the mirror. So how do you get started? How do you rebuild again? And God came to me during that time. I fell to my knees. That's my surrender moment. I fell to my knees and I remember shouting out loud, "Evil, you cannot live here anymore. Evil, you have no control over me anymore." I didn't know how I was going to survive. Like I didn't even know how I was going to survive, but I knew evil, whether you're 6 feet under or wherever you're at, you don't belong here anymore. You're no longer welcome. And the moment that I was able to say that, God was able to finally reach me. It's almost like I gave him a little bit of a crack through the survival mode shield that I had developed. Just that little crack, because that's all he needs. And he showed up and he told me, remember who you are. Remember whose you are. Boldly step forward. Show your crown. So when you see me talking about comeback queen and showing my crown, I didn't make that up. I didn't choose that. God actually said, get up, dust off the ashes, push through the rubble. This fire is here to purify you. This fire is here to make you so slim down to remove all that toxic negativity BS that has been burying you for all these years. The fire is actually here to serve you. So walk through it, endure it, feel the pain, let it do what it's here to do. And so if you're in that place, if you're in that place of being in the middle of the toxic bomb that has just blown up your life and being burnt does not feel good, but endure it and trust that you're being molded into the next version of yourself, the version that probably got buried in survival mode, the version that maybe somebody beat down, the version that grief buried, the version that maybe sickness and illness has held back. Like whatever it is, the fire that you're going through, it might not be time to ignite that spark and come out ready. It might be time to just simmer and let it burn off whatever it needs to burn off. And I hate to break it to you, but sometimes that feels like it takes forever. Sometimes it's not moving fast enough for you. But if you search for the glimpse of hope in that and know that God is here to help you, you're the one person he is helping every day. And so as if you can hold on to that and know that that little string that might feel like it's unraveling, that little string that you're holding on to for dear life because you really don't care if you go on or not, that is the rope that God is holding you on. And he's saying, "Let me help you. Let me choose you to be the one person that I help today and let that hope be enough." And so once you make that decision, then you have to realize that if that spark is there, if that simmer is still there, if those charcoals are still holding that heat, we can begin to reignite. We can begin to resurface. But how do we do that? You got to put air on it, right? You got to get oxygen on that, just like you would fan, a little, smoke fire to get the flame to going. You have to do that in your own life. And the only way that that air can start coming back through your life, the only way that that can kind of resurface that ignited flame is through action. It needs oxygen. You need to move. You need to bring the air and circulate it around you. And it comes with you actually taking action, but it also comes from communities like this. So back when I had lost everything, by the time we were a couple years in, we went right into the COVID pandemic. I lost everything. I had written a book. I couldn't even promote it. We were all in isolation. So talk about like the three of us in my home, me and my two sons, we were all fighting to live because none of us could seek help from anywhere because nobody could even go anywhere. So instead of getting better right away, it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. And I started praying. I started praying for community. I started praying for team. I was tired. Have you ever just been tired? Like, God, I'm just tired. I get that I need to keep going. I get that you've chosen me for something amazing. I get that all this greatness is within me. I get it, but man, I'm tired. And so I just prayed for team and community and found the unleash and through the unleash found David. And so when David called that very first time, I didn't hardly know him. I didn't hardly know him, but you know what? I believe in dreams. I believe in myself. I believe in you. I believe that God believes in us. So when he was reaching out, I knew that took nerve. I knew he was nervous. He was courageous and he did the thing. And so I said, "Yeah, what do you need?" I'd be honored. I didn't think about it. Michael calls me up and says, "Hey, I'm doing this thing." And he tried to tell me all about it. I said, I don't know nobody. But yeah, I'll be there. Why? Because sometimes you just have to take the action. You have to say yes to yourself, and you have to make the decision to surround yourself with people moving in the same direction as you. That's the one thing that holds many more people back. Imagine trying to walk forward and everybody else is walking backward. That is going to hold you back. But imagine if you lock arms and you start walking forward with everybody that's walking forward. You're going to move so much faster. So that's another way to start reigniting that flame. Put oxygen on it. Take action. Go into movement. You don't even have to know where you're going, but just get moving. And chances are the path will be laid in front of you one step at a time. And so that's why I'm here. Because I said yes that many years ago. I took action. I was tired. I didn't know where the money was going to come from. I didn't have none. Like, I want you guys to imagine being on a cliff. People see me building so much today, and people see me going, 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 and doing all these things. But when you're standing on the verge of zero and you're dropped 6 figures under, like literally overnight, not did you lose enough to come back to zero, but you lost that you're 6 figures in the hole. Do you know how hard you have to work just to come to zero? Fucking tired. It's tired because it's not that you're not taking action every day. It's like you're treading water so long just to stay up. And that's why when I see people going for it, I'm like, I'm there. That's why if I can use anything that I've created to serve someone in some capacity, I'm going to do it because I know you're tired. I know you're tired and you might feel burnt out. And that doesn't mean that you're lazy and that doesn't mean that you don't have what it takes, but it's okay to be like, I'm just done. So when you're reigniting that flame and you have to hold on to that glimpse of hope. Hope is simply a discipline and it's a decision. It is not a feeling. It is absolutely not a feeling because most days you're not going to feel like doing the things. Most days you're not going to feel like a rock star. Most days you're not going to feel like you're making progress. You're not going to feel like a success. You're not going to feel like you own your space. Most days you're not going to feel it. So you have to decide. I'm going to choose hope. And maybe today's the day I just have to hold on to help myself and be disciplined every single day. And that's the part that's the hardest because you're tired and I know that you're tired. And so when I would tell myself, I remember hearing a coach of mine back in the day, I wasn't ready for her, but I love being in the environment. I thought I was ready for her. My ego was ready for her back in the day. I wasn't ready for her, but I will never forget one of her processes was what's now, what's next. That's it. You can't build beyond, you can't go any further. What's now, what's next? And I have carried that with me every single day since, even while my husband was in the ICU with the heart attack for 25 days. And he ended up dying on Christmas Eve. And day one, all the doctors are telling me, this could happen, this could happen, this might happen, this is what we're looking at. And I'm like, I don't need to know all that right now. I need to know what's happening right now and what's the very next thing. Because none of us know. And that's life, guys. So if you're working on this 5-year plan, if you're working on all these long-term visions, those are great. Those are the things that'll kind of keep your to-do list in order and maybe keep things in alignment and allow you to see what to say yes to and what to say no to. Like those are great. But the reality is when you have had death look you in the face, you don't even know when your very next breath is coming. So all you have is what's now and what's next. And that's all I could do. That's all I could do when I made the discipline of hope in choosing every single day. When I wrote that first book, and I'm going to share this piece, we were in the pandemic and all of this stuff was happening. I was losing everything so fast. Money was just bleeding out of our accounts like so fast. All the discovery that I found, I lost everything. 50 acres, a $50,000 cabin had to go up for auction, and I didn't get one penny. It went at the reserve, and that was my retirement. Like I had nothing. But I was being interviewed for a Zoom, a podcast from my book, and my electricity went out. And I'm like, I need this opportunity. I need this opportunity for myself and for my sons. And I had already looked into what can I get for my wedding ring? Because once I discovered the affair, that fucking $7,000 diamond, it didn't mean nothing. $7,000 diamond. I went to a jeweler and I went to a pawn shop. The pawn shop gave me $15 more. They gave me $515. And I took it and I went to the electric company and I got my electricity back on because I had to paint my face and I had to show up for a podcast. So you get tired, man. You get tired. And so the spark, you have to realize sometimes isn't just for you. When God calls you, and that calling, he's not going to hang up on you, but you might want to hang up on him sometimes. When God calls you, you have to understand you are chosen. It's you are being selected. And to do the work that he has for you to do does not come easy. And chances are you're going to have to walk through that flame and you're going to have to burn till all the other stuff falls off. And you're going to have to recognize the strength and the power that you carry inside. And the only way that that can come to the surface is when everything else gets melted away. All the bullshit, all the excuses, all the pain, all the heartache, all the past traumas. Like you've got to just let that go and ask God, guide me. What is next? Because chances are you're being put through that because you're here for something beyond yourself. That spark that you're trying to keep ignited, or maybe you're starting it, stopping it, starting it, stopping it. Maybe it's all clear and it's picture perfect one day, and then the next day you don't know who the hell you are anymore. But that's not just for you. That's because somebody needs you. So do the work, stay true to yourself, but the one thing to hold on to is your God, your grand overall designer, because he is the only one that sees this big picture and is in the grand design of all of this taking place right now. And we all hold a responsibility to do our part. So I'm with you. I'm tired. And I'm with you that sometimes there's so many bombs blowing your world up, you just kind of feel like I'm just done climbing through this rubble and I'm just going to like take a break over here. But I'm here to ask you to not do that because we need each other. And when you bring us all together, the power is so much more. And we all carry something unique and we can't do it by ourselves. So keep going, choose hope. But most importantly, believe in yourself and God will take care of the rest. And that's all I got. And I love you guys so much. And thank you, David, for helping me be here tonight when I was planning on being here tomorrow.